This is the typical tombs that we find in the Second Temple period. That just means the time period of Yeshua. These things are called kokim. Okay, it's about 1/2 meter wide, 1/2 meter high, and they would take the body that is wrapped in cloth and shove it in that way and then block the tomb. We see a slab, which is where they will put the person down, the body, and wrap him and prepare him. But then after that, in this period of time specifically, there was a shortage of tomb caves. The way of burial from the time of Abraham was very common. They would wrap the person in cloths, and then they would put the person down, and after 1 year they will come and they will shake out the bones because there wasn't so many preservatives in their bodies, and all the flesh would be off the bones, and they will take the bones and throw it into a common repository. The father, the son, the grandchild, all of these generations, their bones would end up in the same repository. In the time of the patriarchs and in the time of the Iron Age period, there was a different burial custom than there was at the time of Yeshua. They probably think, hey, you're going to need your bones together on that day, on the resurrection day. So after a year, they shake out the burial cloths, they take all of those bones, and they put it in an ossuary, a bone box. We find ourselves at the Church of Domus Flevit, and this is a cave that fell open. They discovered a number of bone boxes here. Now, a bone box, it's as long as your femur and as wide as your skull. Most of the time, it has flower motifs. In the 1st century, more or less, the Second Temple period, when people had decomposed, they take the bones and about a year after their burial, and they put them into a bone box. Now, what is interesting to me is that I counted about 14 bone boxes here that have a rosette on them. The same rosette that we find on the Magdala stone. And I'm wondering if this rosette had anything to do with the hope of afterlife. Today, when we engrave tombstones, we would put maybe a scripture, maybe a rose if your mom liked roses, or a dog that's lasered if your father had a favorite pet. But those days, it seems like they just wanted to say, I hope I see you again. Archaeologists have found a very extravagant ossuary with the name Caiaphas on it. The consensus is that this was the same high priest who condemned Jesus of Nazareth to be crucified. In fact, they also excavated a bone box of a crucified man. It had a nail still through the heel bone, but the name on the box was not Yeshua. No. After 3 days in the tomb, he rose again. And he, Yeshua, Jesus, is the hope of afterlife for everyone who puts their trust in him for salvation.